Welcome to the Mama Said Fit YouTube channel. My name is Gina. I'm a perinatal fitness trainer and birth doula.
And I'm Roxanne, a labor and delivery nurse and student midwife.
And in this episode, we're going to be talking all about hypnobirthing, which is a tool that you can use during your pregnancy as you're preparing for birth to help decrease the intensity of your labor contractions and to help you cope better. And it's a really common technique that folks are using to mentally prepare for birth. So Roxanne, can you talk about what is hypnobirthing?
So hypnobirthing, it's when people first hear it, they always think about like, oh, you're hypnotizing yourself into doing these things. And what it actually is doing, it's creating a conditioned relaxation response because you listen to these specific tapes throughout your entire pregnancy in times that you are normally relaxing. So they have I can't remember exactly how many tapes there are, but there's a bunch of different tracks that you listen to. And you first start listening to it right before you go to bed. And I will say I listened to this one right before I go to bed. It was like Rainbow something. And for the longest time, I had no idea why it was called Rainbow because I would fall asleep before it got to all of the colors.
Stop stealing my story, Roxanne.
It goes through all of the colors. But no, Gina told me this after I listened to it finally, because around 20 weeks in your second trimester, you start to listen to it during the day as well in a time that you are going to relax because you conditioned yourself to be relaxed from falling to sleep at it pretty much. And then you are asleep as you're finishing the rest of the track. So your body still listens to it and kind of registers, hey, when we listen to this, we're relaxed. And then you start listening to it during the day. And I was like, shit, they go through all the colors.
Yeah, I had no idea I didn't know why it was called Rainbow Relaxation because I never made it to the color.
I only got
rooms.
to the first color, which I think was blue. And I was like, oh, they go through all the colors. I thought that they were just calming me with this blue calming color. That's blue is calming. And they go through every single color. And during lunch, I was listening to it during my lunch break at work because I didn't have a patient. And I was like, shit, man, they go through all the colors. And I had a midwife there who also did hypnobirthing with her last baby. And she's like, is this your first time listening to it during the day? And I was like, yes, it is. And I am very confused. How did I, one, know that these were coming? But also I'm still shocked that they went through all the colors. But there's other tracks. Just that's the only one that I was like, what? That's wild. So you listen to this all throughout your entire pregnancy, most likely every day. That's the goal, is that you listen to it every day, starting first at night, and then you start introducing different tracks throughout the daytime as well. And this is creating this conditioned relaxation response to be relaxed during whenever you hear this track. So that when you are in labor and you listen to these tracks, you will be relaxed because a relaxed body is going to allow labor to happen easier.
So if you think about the psychological experiment where Pavlov's
dog,
where he would ring a bell and then he would feed a dog, and he would ring a bell and feed a dog, and then the dog would drool. And so then he would ring a bell and the dog would associate bell with food and it would start to drool. And so that became a conditioned response where the dog associated the bell with food. And so what we're doing with hypnobirthing is we're creating a conditioned response with these meditations and these tracks and these affirmations so that when you hear them, it's like ringing the bell and you relax. And so it's important during pregnancy that if you're doing hypnobirthing, that it's something that you're committing to and you're doing it very often. Doing it once during pregnancy and then trying to listen to it during labor is not going to be helpful because it's not creating that conditioned response. And you can also create a conditioned response with other things as well outside of just the tracks. So you may associate certain smells with relaxation, typically lavender and these floral scents we tend to associate with relaxation. So when you're listening to your tracks, you can also diffuse some aromas or light a candle. And so you have that certain aroma that you're now also associating with relaxation. Maybe there's certain movements that you do that you find to be very relaxing. So I had one client that her and her husband would listen to this certain playlist. They would diffuse this certain oil and they would slow dance together. And that became a conditioned thing for them where she associated like slow dancing with relaxing with her partner. And so during their labor, they like slow dance together. I've had other clients that would take like a bath, and that would be like their nighttime relaxation ritual. And so during labor, they're like, get me in the tub. I will just be in the tub and I will relax here. So there are other things besides just the tracks that you can use to create these conditioned responses. But again, it's something that we're doing repeatedly throughout pregnancy, and we're always doing it at a time that we are focusing on relaxing. So it could be smells, it could be actions, it could be certain tastes, it could be certain types of music or sounds. So like either a playlist or the hypnobirthing tracks, certain touches. So again, different things that you can do throughout your pregnancy to create that conditioned response so that we can ring a bell and relax during labor.
Another concept with hypnobirthing is controlled breathing, because breathing is well, just in life, but having control of our breathing is so important during labor. It can be so powerful. But when you're listening to these tracks, you're doing certain breathing techniques to help you relax, so that, again, you utilize that during labor to be able to relax during your contractions, throughout your contractions, so that you, again, are feeling less pain. With hypnobirthing, they do not call contractions. They try to stay more positive with their wording. So they'll call them surges or waves instead of calling them contractions, because it's like a really strong, hard word. Whereas surges and waves is a little bit more fluid and natural and kind of more relaxing. Another thing that it's doing throughout the tracks is helping you with like guided visualization to like kind of, again, encourage that relaxation with different things. So it's teaching, again, it's a conditioned relaxation response, but using this in a different way with your breath and visualization, and then the tracks as well. I used it with my first pregnancy. I did not use it as much with my second and third, and potentially that would have been a little bit more helpful if I had stuck with it, but kids, man. But with hypnobirthing, when I was in school to become a labor and delivery nurse, so the Army sends you to like a 4-month school to become a labor and delivery nurse, and you learn all of these things about labor and delivery, postpartum, and all of the care. During that course, we learned about hypnobirthing, and she did this test. It's called the lemon test, where she reads it off. At the end of it, you have a certain response. You are more likely to be like able to be hypnotized. Like, not everybody can do hypnobirthing and it be successful for them, because some of us are just not prone to be able to be hypnotized and other of us are. So when I did this test, I had that response in like bounds and leaps. And I was like, I am going to do hypnobirthing when I have a baby to try this out, because apparently I am susceptible to hypnotism. So before we start, get into a comfortable position and then close your eyes. So imagine a lemon. Make this lemon the most perfect lemon you have ever seen. The lemon is the perfect color of yellow. Imagine that you can see the lemon in great detail. You can see the pores in the skin of the lemon. You can see where the stem attaches. You can see the waxiness of the rind, and you can see how the light is reflecting from the parts of the lemon. Imagine the lemon is so real that you could reach out and touch it. When it seems that real, reach out and grasp the lemon with your hand. Notice that it feels just like you knew it would. Not too cool, not too warm, but exactly as you already know the perfect lemon would feel. You can feel the texture of the skin against your fingers, and as you bring the lemon closer to you, you begin to catch a hint of the wonderful fresh scent it has. Now imagine you are standing in a kitchen in front of a counter, and on that counter is a cutting board and a knife. Imagine placing the lemon on the cutting board on the counter in front of you. Visualize yourself picking up the knife and slicing the lemon in half. Watch as the blade cuts into the lemon, releasing a spray of juice into the air. The air is filled with the scent of fresh lemon. Take a moment now. Close your eyes and imagine the scene. Visualize the sliced lemon. Remember the sound the knife made as it sliced through the thick skin into the middle of the lemon, releasing the juice into the air. With your eyes closed, recall that first burst of lemon scent as it entered your nose. So vivid you could almost taste it. When you have seen that in your mind, open your eyes. Now take the knife and make a second cut. creating a lemon wedge. Notice how the juice flows out onto the cutting board and even your fingers. Notice that again, you were able to see the spray, hear the sounds, and cut the fresh lemon as you cut into it. Imagine picking up the lemon wedge. Feel as the juice runs down your fingers. Notice how the scent becomes stronger as you bring the wedge closer to your face. Now look closely at the perfect yellow of the inside of the lemon. Place the lemon wedge in your mouth and bite down. Feel as the juice washes over your tongue, sour, but a little sweet at the same time. Again, exactly as you knew it would, just like the perfect lemon would. Notice the bitter, sweet, sour taste as the juice fills your mouth. Feel as you swallow the juice. Hold that feeling as the scene fades around you and you return to where you are. So for many people that listen to this, as you get to the end, your mouth will start to water. And if your mouth started to water, then you are more likely to be susceptible to hypnotism than someone if you did all of that and your mouth did not water in the end. So when I did this, I was like drooling at the end. So I was like, I should try hypnobirthing because apparently I am very susceptible to this. And with hypnobirthing, they do make claims that like you won't feel any pain throughout your labor if you do hypnobirthing and you're like really strict with it. I don't know if that's necessarily true for everybody that does it. With hypnobirthing, everyone that I have known that has done it and they've listened to the tracks like very, very consistently, they were able to at least get through early labor, early active labor, and active, like the beginning parts of active labor pretty easily, pain-wise. So it's definitely something that I would recommend reaching out and looking into if you did the lemon test and your mouth was like watering, almost drooling like it was for me. So hypnobirthing was not something that I've done in any of my previous pregnancies. Like I took a course with a hypnobirthing instructor, so I understand it all. I just never dedicated the time to it. So it was not a tool that I was able to use, but I am interested in trying it this pregnancy. We'll start
in preparation to my birth to see if that helps. So I did try listening to a hypnobirthing first trimester mantra and I hated it because I found a lot of the mantras were not beneficial for me. But I am going to listen to the Rainbow Relaxation and realize that there's more than one room. There's 7. But it is something that I want to try this pregnancy. So I will report back if I do it.
In 9 months, we'll let you know.
Or less than 9 months because I will not be pregnant in 9 months.
When we record.
When we record it later. And I will let you know if it was beneficial for me because it's something that like I've always wanted to utilize during my labors. I usually just use like physical support and weeping to be helpful. So I wonder if like a meditation would be really nice. So I think I'm going to use like the Gentle Birth app to help me with it.
The Gentle Birth, I use that with my other 2. And I really liked the Gentle Birth app because they do different meditations. They are more meditations than like hypnotism,
and there's a lot of online resources with YouTube as well where you can find free hypnobirthing tracks and stuff on YouTube channels as well. And I think Spotify even has
a
whole playlist of hypnobirthing. So check out those free resources. If you want paid resources, there are hypnobirthing instructors that are usually available to teach classes as well.
You can Google hypnobirthing. Hypnobabies is, I think, a really popular one that people use. But somewhere around you, somebody teaches something with hypnobirthing if you want to look into it.
And now if you want to understand the science of birth, because sometimes understanding like what is even going on can be really beneficial before we can really do the mental preparation, our online childbirth education course is going to be pretty beneficial to helping you understand what is even happening within your body. So we break down like what is a contraction, how is it working, we break down the labor timeline and a whole bunch of other stuff, just as how to open the pelvis with different positions. And so when you feel more confident and birth feels less mysterious, and then it makes space for us to mentally prepare and to release when it comes to birth as well. So our online childbirth education course is self-paced. It's short videos that add up over time. There's a lot of videos, but they're short. So it's really easy, digestible. You have lifetime access, so you can use it throughout your whole pregnancy and for future ones to review as well. Tons of printable resources in it. And if you want to check it out, you can check it out at mamasayfit.com/childbirth. We'll link it down in the show notes and description as well. And you can use code YouTube10 to get 10% off our childbirth education course. We also have prenatal fitness programming, pelvic floor prep, and then in the postpartum, we do have some postpartum support as well. So thanks so much for listening to our episode. If you want more, like our channel, subscribe to us so you get notified whenever we release new episodes. We try to release at least like one new workout video a week, one educational video a week. It's a work in progress. It will happen, I promise. But thank you so much for listening. And
if there's any topic that you want to learn more about with either birth, postpartum, pregnancy, comment below what you're looking for.